In today's show, we're going to talk about 3 big retiree regrets.
Welcome to the Your Life, Your Money podcast with Scott Searins, teaching you how to thrive in life, wealth, and retirement.
Welcome to the Retirement Show, all about your life, your money, and your retirement. I'm your host, Scott Searins. I own and run a retirement planning and investment management firm where our mission is to help good people make great financial decisions to maximize their retirement story. And that's what we're going to talk about today is how do you maximize your retirement story versus living in retirement regret. There's a YouTube video that we're going to link to in the show notes that drove this podcast episode today. And basically it was somebody that had interviewed people. He's in his 60s. He had interviewed people in their 80s and 70s, and basically was saying, hey, what is it that looking back on life, you wish you would have done differently? Maybe you regretted those things as part of your overall retirement story. So how do we avoid those and instead help maximize your retirement story? And, I've heard a lot of meeting with some new people that are already in retirement. A lot of times you hear, I wish I would have. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have. And I find, a lot of what we do and what I do in my profession is help people overcome those fears and challenges so that they don't have retirement regret. Now, I think before we go into the 3 regrets, so I'm going to take that video and I've pulled out of there 3 retirement regrets. To me, these are some big ones that, are ones, a couple that we're able to help on, one that, is primarily on your shoulders as the retiree or pre-retiree, but a couple that really are important to me in how we help people come over those fears and challenges of utilizing and enjoying what they've worked so hard to spend, so that way they can maximize the retirement story. Now, before we go into those 3 regrets, the last one is one that to me is super important. Before we go into those 3 regrets, I think it's important that you understand the phases of retirement. And I'm sure you've heard these phases of retirement before. You've read about them before. I'm going to quickly go over them, but I think it's important to go over them first because I want these phases of retirement in your mind as we go through these different regrets, because I think linking them together will really help you think differently about your retirement and your retirement plan. So the phases of retirement that we hear talked about all the time are the go-go years, right? So those are your young, healthy years where you're going and, enjoying life and retirement to its fullest extent because you can. And then the next years after the go-go years are the slow-go years, meaning just not doing as much. While you might have been able to do whatever you could do in the go-go years, basically in those slow-go years, you're going, I just can't do as much. Might be because of health, because your body won't allow, whatever it is, just life changes. You won't be able to do as much. And then the final phase, which I still haven't found a word that I like for this final phase of retirement, but I'll just give you some that are out there. It's either called the inactive phase, the no-go years. I'm just going to call it the don't want to go years. These are the years where maybe health's changed or life's changed, and really you're just not doing as much as you would have done in those other years. You might not be leaving the house nearly as much as you would have in those other years, where maybe health has you, confined that you're not able to. And so those phases are real. In working with people that are in retirement or are approaching retirement, I can tell you that those phases are real. I know that you just think, oh, well, I read about them and I see them and then I hear about these different years. But I'll tell you what, from what I see and what I've experienced working with retirees, these phases are real. You might say, well, which phase am I in? It all depends on where you're at in your life. But we see that we have got clients in all of these different phases. Now, Here's the thing that plays into the regrets that we're going to talk about is there are so many unknowns in life. We don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know what our health is going to be like in the future. And we don't know how long we're going to get to spend in each of these different phases. So know that they're real, know that they exist, and knowing that, now let's talk about the 3 retirement regrets. All right, the first regret is that they wish they would have retired earlier. Think about it this way, right? Have you ever heard anybody go, wow, time has really slowed down? No, the older we get, it seems like time just goes faster and faster and faster. And so the slow go phase is, the go-go phase is going to go fast, meaning the slow go phase that we're talking about in the 3 phases, the middle phase, that's going to come up upon you very fast as well. You see how the phases play right into all of these regrets. Blink of an eye, the go-go phase could be right behind you and the slow go phase staring in the face. And you go, wait a second, I didn't even get to enjoy the go-go phase of retirement because I didn't retire early enough. Now, of course, I've got to say, make sure you have the funds to retire early. But, for some people, they waited too long to retire, barely got to go enjoy the go-go phase. And then next thing you know, the slow go phase was kicking in. A couple examples here, a couple stories. A story of one person who, when they were in their upper 60s, they started to kind of get some promotions at work. They were becoming higher up in management at work. They were in their highest earning years at work. And that felt really, really good. However, they then worked through, because that felt good, they worked through a large portion of their go-go retirement years. Now, that's a decision that they decided to make. Will they regret it? We won't know until, 5-10 years from now when they look back and go, gosh, I don't know if that was really worth it for me to, continue working. I can tell you from another story that these clients, they waited a little bit longer to retire. And then once they did retire, unfortunately, one of the 2 clients had some health issues. And so you'd say, well, that was just for one of the 2 of them. But, their partner actually then was helping keep care of them. And because of that, they weren't able to enjoy the go-go years together because one had a health issue and the other one was taking care of them. I find this happens a few different reasons. Probably my last story here is one person that, they decided not to sit down with a financial advisor until they were in their 70s. They had retired in their late 60s. When they finally sat down with us, one of the things is they're like, oh, well, knowing what I know now, knowing how much I can spend from my retirement savings, I probably would have retired earlier because I would have liked to watch more of my grandson growing up, more of their games, more of their activities, more of their fill in the blank, right? A lot of times it has to do with family. Sometimes it just has to do with themselves and what the activities are that they want to do, what they, want to be involved in. And they don't realize it until after they retire, after they put together that plan. Where am I going all with all that? Well, one of the reasons that I find people live in this area of regret is because just like this last person story I was telling you about, they didn't have a plan. They didn't put together a plan. They said, I've got this. I'm pretty sure I have enough money saved up. So fine, I'll retire in, whatever they had picked, 66, 67. And then once later in life, they put together in that plan, they're able to see how much they were able to spend or just even knowledge of what they were able to do. And that they didn't have a concern about running out of money. Well, then they're looking back going, gosh, I would have done this earlier. That's why a lot of folks are coming to us, within 5 years of retirement going, hey, is this possible? And what if we're able to do this earlier? Now, I find some people live in this area of regret because they really look at retirement going, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have hobbies. I don't know what I'm going to do with my time. I really enjoy working. And there's nothing wrong with that as well, as long as you know that, hey, looking backwards, that you're happy with that decision. But for some people, what I find is that maybe they make that decision to go into retirement then, and then they find some part-time items to do. I've got clients that, they went into that retirement, that go-go phase, but then just picked up some part-time work to keep them busy, to keep them active, to keep them going. So some have some part-time work, but it's not full-time work. They can leave it whenever they decide to leave it. For some people, they are volunteering because that's how they're fulfilling their time, so they can to enjoy those go-go years. But at the same time, it's something that's keeping them busy, something that's keeping them around people. And it's allowing them to, I'll say, explore retirement without being fully retired because they picked up some part-time stuff. So that first regret, wish they would have retired earlier. Gosh, there's so many paths that you can probably go down in your mind here to go, well, maybe should I retire earlier? Should I keep working? When should I make that decision? How do I know I'll be okay in retirement? We don't know, right? There's so many unknowns. I think a big portion of what helps person at least have confidence in what that next step is by putting together a plan. And it's not about pushing on, saying, oh, everybody's got to have a plan. I know today's about regrets, but hopefully it's showing you that, hey, if you have a plan in place, like for our clients, we've got an income plan in place, meaning how much can we spend? We've got the investment plan in place, keeping the money growing for the future. How do we get how do we help get a good return without any sort of risk to the retirement income paychecks that need to come in? And then that tax plan of helping to keep more in their pocket. Having that in place can help you know the possibilities for retirement. And then you can it's going to help you confidently make that decision of, okay, I'm going to pick this year to retire or that year to retire. But you don't want to go 5 years more of working because you just didn't know and then say, oh, I wish I would have retired 5 years ago because you could have spent more time with your family. So if you find yourself in one of those areas like I was talking about earlier, just getting caught up in work, just remember, are you going to look back and regret that you got caught up in work versus doing more of the activities that you wanted to do or spending more time with your family? So that's the first area of regret. I think a plan really helps you with that. But just remember, think about those phases of retirement again. Those go-go years are only going to last so long. And the older we get, the faster time flies by. How long will your go-go years last? None of us know, but we want to make sure that you're at least getting the most out of them that you can. And we're going to talk about that in the third regret as well, is how are you getting the most out of those go-go years that you can? So, okay. The second area of regret, let's flip in our notes here. The second area of regret is they wish they would have taken care of, better care of health. Health changes. Health changes at any age, but health really changes or could potentially change when we get older. And our health can have a major impact on our bodies, and it can have a major impact on what we are able to do and not able to do. Right there, what we're able to do and not able to do, you can see how quickly that can potentially fast forward you through those retirement phases. Go-go years, slow-go years, the years that you don't want to go. Health can have a huge impact on if you're just kind of making your way through those phases or if you're fast forwarding through those phases. Not only is it your physical health, but it's your mental health. Imagine this, just share a few stories with you. Know some folks that unfortunately one person got injured. That injury led to them not really being able to leave the house. And then because of that injury, guess what? Their spouse was taking care of them. And they just went from call it the slower going years of their retirement to the not able to go out of their house years just like that. I can give you another story. I shared it earlier of a couple that right after retirement, unfortunately, one of the spouses got sick, and right there, they didn't even get to enjoy the go-go years, because they just went right from the go-go years to taking care of each other, taking care of that other person. And just like that, retirement phases went fast forwarded for them, right from go-go to slow-go, just like that. I can tell you that there's folks out there that unfortunately, just due to health issues, aren't able to leave their house. They've just been fast forwarded right into kind of those final phases of retirement for them. So that's why I was saying the phases exist. I think sometimes we can underplay what, or how big of a role health plays into this. I hope that you see that, you understand that. I hope that you're taking care of yourself in retirement, because like I had mentioned, it's one of the regrets that was coming up in this video is people wish they had taken better care of their health. And that's what I see that it does. Not taking care of your health will fast forward you right through these phases of retirement. You could have had really big plans, but because of health, you're now either in the slow go years, or you're in I'll call it the no-go years, or the don't want to go years. Some of the I'll say happiest retirees that I see and happiest folks that we work with, they're getting gym memberships, they're playing pickleball, they're volunteering for different organizations. Some of them, they're working part-time, right? They're like, you know what, I want to go enjoy retirement, but hey, what helps me stay mentally active and physically active is that I want to work part-time. Some of them are consulting. Some of them are in clubs or church groups or other groups. I can speak for one that I know that they're part of like a breakfast club where they meet up with a group of people each and every week. Some of these are physical activities, some of these are mental activities, but I think both types of activities are so important if you really want to enjoy those initial phases of retirement of the go-go years and the slow-go years, instead of being fast-forwarded through those phases of retirement. The third regret is people wish they would have spent more. Retirees wish they would have spent more when they first retired. Here's what I've seen, again, working with people in each phases. People in that slow go phase, they're just spending less. It's just part of that phase. It's just part of what happens in life. We're not going as much. We're not doing as much. It just then doesn't cost as much. So they're spending less. People in that final phase, if they're not having health issues, they're spending even less. If they are having health issues, well, then there's maybe cost associated with those health issues. So I find what drives this third regret is that fear of running out of money. And it doesn't matter. We've got clients that have, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, $7 million more. And that doesn't matter. What I find is that all of those people, to get to that much in their savings, means they had to be a saver, means they had to have saved money. And so when they get to retirement, savers have a very tough time becoming spenders, because it doesn't matter how much is in there, there's still this back end fear of running out of money. So one reason that's what's driving that is that fear of running out of money. The other thing I find is some of these old rules of thumb saying, okay, well, you can spend, using the 4% rule, where it doesn't matter if you're in your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, you're going to keep withdrawing the same amount of money from your retirement funds each and every year and increasing it for inflation, or the 4% right of the account balance. And I've kind of jumbled it up there, but I think you get what I'm saying. You can look up the 4% rule where you're kind of just doing the same over time. But why would you do the same over time if we just said that later in life you're going to spend less? And back to those, or the third reason I find that this happens too, is people that are managing on their own. They thought, you know what? I can do this, not a problem. They're going to manage on their own. And then just tough. It's just really tough. And so it's tough pulling money out of your account. It's tough pulling money out of your account when the market is down. And so what do? Most likely in that case, they'll probably underspend in their retirement. Or going back to the savers, it's tough to become then a spender. And this is where I find that, a big part of what we do for our clients, a big part of what we do for the savers that we work with, is we are giving them permission to spend. Permission to spend what they work so hard to save for what they've saved it up for, which is maximizing whatever they want their retirement story to be. Then on top of it, what we help them do so they don't have this third regret is front load their plan. What do I mean by front loading a plan? Well, what I mean by that, I want you to just think about your working years. Maybe you have a salary coming in, and then maybe, depending on your company, you get a bonus check. Well, what I mean by front loading the plan is we want to first construct the plan so a retiree has a salary that's going to come in that will last them through their life and will cover the necessary expenses and lifestyle things that they need, but not necessarily all the extras that they would do when they're young and healthy, what they're going to need for life. Then what we want to do is throw a bunch of bonus checks in there, but the bonus checks are in the front part of the plan. This is how we help people avoid this last regret. Because see, we're throwing the bonus checks in there. You want to put the bonus checks on the front side of your plan while you're young and healthy. That's enjoying those go-go years, but then also knowing that in the slow go and the no-go years that everything's going to be okay. And so front loading the plan is how you can help yourself not have this final level of regret. It's really giving yourself that permission to spend. This is what we do through an income plan with all of our clients. And then we're mixing that up with the investment management plan and the tax plan as well. But that income plan is a huge, huge portion to not have this third and final area of regret. And I find a lot of times it's tough for people to think about that. So you really got to pull it out of yourself. When we're meeting with clients, we're really trying to pull out of them, what is it? What are these things that they want to do while they're young and healthy? And we're trying to give those bonus checks. We're trying to create those bonus checks in the plan. So that way they are doing those things, but also knowing that they're going to be okay in the future. And it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun when people are bringing in a piece of paper to us to say, well, here's my list. Naming them all off. Will this be okay? Can I do these things? We can plug them in, create the bonus checks. Does it work out? Will the retirement salary still be okay? And if so, great. Go enjoy those things. That's what you've worked so hard to save that money for. So hopefully talking about these things, hopefully seeing those phases of retirement, not seeing them, but thinking about those phases of retirement, thinking about these regrets can help you understand, one, life's going to go fast, right? I'm seeing that. I understand that. Life goes fast. And if health changes, we can just fast forward right through these phases of retirement. So how do we take what we have and instead of living a retirement of regret, enjoy each one of these phases to the maximum capability that we can? So thinking about it, talking about it, in the end, a lot of it comes down to putting together a plan to understand what is possible for you and for your situation. If we could be of any help with that, feel free to reach out to us. You can go to lifemoneyshow.com, click on the Work With Us tab, see if there's a potential fit. Otherwise, I just hope this video has helped you understand all the different, a few different areas of regret so that you're maximizing your retirement story. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget, subscribe on your favorite podcast player, or if you're on YouTube watching the video, subscribe there. We're coming out with new videos each and every week to help you maximize your retirement story. Thanks. Have a great day.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Sierens Financial Management, Inc. Sierens Financial Group, Inc. is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, AEWM, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Sierens Financial Management, Inc. are not subject to investment advisor requirements. AEWM and Sierens Financial Management, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences, including, but not limited to, a need for additional tax withholding or estimated tax payments, the loss of certain tax deductions and credits, and higher taxes on Social Security benefits and higher Medicare premiums. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. Sierens Financial Group, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed.